guys, Jujubei here, welcome back to the channel. Now I nicknamed this replay Slaughter, and I think you'll see why once we get into the match. Me and my teammate are playing as a Swaby. We've got a Swaby Rush coming up against the Romans. Now these two opponents have picked I don't know, I'll let you guys kind of decide what kind of players they are once we get into the match. So they spawned a little bit further apart than you probably would want, and these cavalry are on the inside. And as you can see, they're in flying wedge formation, so that's always a good start. I'll just show our armies off at the start of the match. I have brought, Swordmaster General. A couple of these noble riders, 4 of them to be exact. I got 2 Swordmasters bringing up the rear of this main line of Bloodsworn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them to be exact. And bringing up the rear, I've got 4 Wodenaz Spears. Out in this flank, I've got 2 Germanic Scout Riders. Didn't really want to opt for any more than that, just seeing as we're coming up against the Romans, and I was expecting lots and lots of infantry. So what my opponent has done is gone for a fair bit of cavalry, actually. So exactly what I didn't really plan for. My teammate here has gone for a Swordmaster build with a couple of these Longbow Hunters, don't know how useful they are, and a couple of Bloodsworn, you know, a few of these Riders of the Hunt, Germanic Scout Riders, all very good stuff, Hex Bearers. Hex Bearers are interesting. I would like to see a match with those used appropriately. Maybe like a scare kind of tactic. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ooh, 3 Balearic Slingers and 3 Auxiliary Syrian Archers. So if my opponent can use these units well, then he definitely is in for a good chance to use his elephants if I don't have anything to do with them left on the field. So 4 Auxiliary Cav, good stuff. 5 Armored Legionnaires. 3 Eagle Cohort, very expensive, and a General and Bodyguard with a Silver XP Chevron. So, similar thing happening over here. 3 Auxiliary Balearic Slingers, 3 Syrian Archers, 3 Praetorian Guard, Veteran Legionnaires, Armored Legionnaires, and it looks like they got 5 of them. Socki Equities, Extraordinary, and Auxiliary Cav and General's Bodyguard. So, straight away I'm going to pop, I think it was Fast Charge here. Yep, there we go. So everything within the radius has had that bonus applied to them. And you can see what I'm planning to do is use these noble riders as kind of like a 1-2 punch. These guys now have a charge bonus of 66, which is somewhere up near shot cavalry range. I managed to catch a couple of these Syrian archers on the way in, but I'm taking a lot of fire from these Eagle Cohort. So I'm going to pull out. Only took 5 losses there, 1 loss there, and noble rider over there taking no losses. Getting my Bloodsworn into this battle. Quick smart. They're kind of racking up. Yeah, they're racking up a lot of kills. Straight off the bat. Charge bonus of 53 on those units. This one did not have the fast charge ability applied to it, but it's going to get a fairly good charge anyway. Going to bring my cavalry around the flank to try and deal with all these skirmishes that could definitely do some serious damage to me. I've popped Pride on my units. My opponent is just kind of holding that unit at bay, and we're trying to focus in on this opponent over here, just so we can kind of overwhelm or destroy before we deal with the other threat. I haven't even used my Wodenaz Spear at this point. He was chasing off my Germanic Scout Riders with his cavalry, so now that they're coming back, I'm forming up with a couple of my Wodenaz Spears to meet him. All along the center though, I'm just winning engagements. It's not really going against me at any point. I mean, I'm losing a Bloodsworn here, but where they are going down, I'm backing up with Swordmasters. So in the center, the auxiliary African elephants are starting to make their presence felt. I'm going to have to try and get a couple of these Wodenaz Spears into the mix just to try and deal with them. I'm getting my noble riders into this battle and silencing a couple of his skirmishes. So my opponent using his cavalry in a bit of a bizarre way, just kind of throwing them away and not really using them to defend his own skirmishes there. But we have won the center pretty summarily, and we're going to start throwing our javelins here. As you can see, getting some nice javelin tosses off before we get a couple of kills. Only 145 kills in that unit there. Over on this flank, I'm going to engage his cavalry, hopefully with my Wodenaz Spears. I actually managed to trap them in and get my noble riders into these units as well. Don't know where they were going with that anyway. Going to get my Germanic Scout Riders through this gap as well and throw some javelins into the back of these Eagle Cohort, I believe. Yeah, here we go. Point blank range. Man, this is going to be pincushion alley. These guys are going to get, wow, going to get absolutely skewered. I actually got, oh, that is brutal. Down to 17 men. only took 2 volleys, and we've managed to destroy that unit there. This Eagle cohort actually beasting it out and beating one of my Blood Sworn there. But they're not going to last for very long because I've got one of the Germanic Scout Riders on the case, throwing their javelins in here. So at this point, my teammate is engaging the other Roman there, and we're going to wheel around with my units around this direction and try and form, I think yeah, here we go, trying to form a line here. The only thing I can say to my, if I can give my opponents any insight, is to stay together. If you're playing 2v2, you got to keep your units together and try and, attack as one. Because if you leave one of your teammates alone to be ganged up on, you're going to be in a bad place at the end of the game. So that's pretty much all I would kind of put in here. But he does have all his units. A lot of these are very dangerous units left in the field. These longbow hunters are trying to focus fire in on these, doing a very good job actually on these auxiliary Assyrian archers. Very high armor on those guys. Don't have a block chance, of course. He has popped, what has he popped? Rally and Raise Banner. So very interesting that my opponent, or my teammate, didn't actually use the Ariovistus general's ability. I do have my Germanic Scout Riders coming in, and it looks like my own Noble Riders are going to get in here and wreak havoc upon these auxiliary Syrian archers. It's a bit of a pincer movement happening with all of our cavalry here, with our Noble Riders. I think I'm going to chase off these ones with this other cavalry and shoot the gap with my Germanic Scout Riders. It looks like this one was almost out of ammo, and it's just going to fire the rest of its volleys into these units before they get wrecked. So, Germanic Scout Riders, my opponent shouldn't really be allowing me to do this, just turning Romans into pincushions. I guess it's what we do best with these Germanic Scout Riders. If you can get, nice recharge there, just to finish them off. Praetorian Guard down to 24 men. Very good morale on those guys, so they're going to last for a very long time. What is it exactly? 70 morale. Imagine that, Jesus Christ. So, me and my teammate, at this point, we're just using, kind of taking turns to charge into the rear of this big old blob of Roman infantry. Another word of advice would be to maybe don't blob up your infantry. Even though this is a very good engagement for a Roman, you don't want to blob all your units together. You want to kind of give yourself the best chance of having contact with all of your units on the enemy. So, Son of Rome, Cancer of Chromosome, thanks for the game. You guys played all right. But it looks like my Noble Riders were able to take the cake. Getting a lot of kills there, 207, 53, 263, and all along the front, these Bloodsworn actually doing a very good job against the enemy armored legionnaires and Praetorian Guard and that kind of thing. So, Son of Rome, man, that's your namesake. You got to be good with them. I think there were new players actually. That's true, especially with the Spartan edition just coming out. A lot of new players are jumping on. So, thanks guys for the game. GGBS signing out. Peace.